The moment you were born, were you really new? Or had something inside you been here before? One of history's most controversial thinkers said your soul is older than your body, and he claimed he could prove it. Here's why modern science won't touch the question of what happens after death. Because we're all biased. We want to survive. We're terrified of vanishing. And when you desperately want something to be true, you'll find evidence for it, whether it exists or not. The philosopher Ludwig Feuerbach put it bluntly. First, people believed in immortality. Then they proved it. So, science closed the case. It said, we can't be objective about our own death. Moving on. But a man named Rudolf Steiner said, they made one critical mistake. They looked at the last 500 years of religious thinking and assumed that as how humans always approached this question. It wasn't. In the mystery schools of the ancient world, they didn't start by teaching immortality. They started by destroying your desire for it. Before you could learn the truth about the soul, you had to spend years in silence. The Pythagoreans, 5 years. No opinions, no arguments, no questions, just listening. Why? Because only when you no longer needed the answer to comfort you, could you actually see it clearly. These teachers didn't say, believe me. They said, I'm going to show you how to see for yourself. And what they saw changes everything. Here's something science does confirm. Every 7 to 8 years, nearly every atom in your body is replaced. The hand you're looking at right now, it contains almost nothing from the hand you had a decade ago. So here, the question that should keep you up at night. If the material is completely different, what exactly is the you that remembers being that younger person? Steiner said what remains in you is invisible. You can't see it. You can't weigh it. It's the only part of you that's actually you. And here's where it gets wild. Everyone accepts evolution, right? Bodies evolve over millions of years. Species transform. Simple becomes complex. But then we get to the human mind, and suddenly scientists become the biggest believers in miracles. Michelangelo's genius. Where did it come from? His parents? Look at them. Nothing in their history predicts him. The great writer Goethe himself said he got his posture from his father, his storytelling from his mother. But his genius, that came from somewhere else. If souls are created fresh at birth, like blank slates, how do you explain the vast difference between one human consciousness and another? Why is one person born with depths that take a lifetime to explore, while another seems to have arrived with almost nothing inside? Steiner asked, we accept evolution for bodies. Why not for souls? What if your soul has its own ancestry, its own line of development, its own previous versions? This is the idea of reincarnation, but not the way most people think of it. Steiner wasn't saying you were Cleopatra in a past life. He was saying something more profound. Your soul is like a seed. It contains the accumulated growth of everything it's experienced. And when it enters a new body, it doesn't start from zero. It starts from wherever it left off. Steiner used this example. Crush a crystal. Dissolve it. Let it reform. It automatically returns to its original pattern. The formative power was never destroyed. It was just waiting for the right conditions to reassemble. Your body came from your parents, but the consciousness looking through your eyes, that came from you, from an older you, from the you that's been developing across more time than you can remember. Now, here's where this gets practical. If Steiner was right, not everything about you survives. Your anxieties, your Netflix preferences, your grudge against your ex, those come from this life, this body, this set of circumstances. They dissolve when the body does. What survives is what you've transformed, what you've worked so deeply into yourself that it becomes part of your essence. Steiner said your body isn't a costume your soul wears. It's a tool. And people who understand this use their tools better. They work with more purpose, more patience, because they're not working for one lifetime. They're building something that lasts. So the next time you meet a newborn, look into their eyes and wonder, how old is the being looking back at me? Steiner left us with a question from the philosopher Lessing, and I'll leave it with you. Is not all eternity mine? If this opens something in you, go deeper. Subscribe, and tell me in the comments, what do you think you're carrying from before?